Oh yeah, so that's my another video. This time, what Liz Truss is up to. So we have new prime minister. She will stay weeks, months, maybe years. So we need to know what she is planning to do to make us feel better, or maybe not. So that's her interview a couple days ago, where she said she is very keen to cut taxes. She's very happy to reduce any income redistribution programs. That means taxing the rich, giving to the poor. And so she's against that because she thinks it's unfair. So, well, we should expect a little bit more austerity and more cuts in social spendings like DWP on steroids as it is right now. And according to her, this kind of idea is the best way to boost the economy. I would disagree, but listen to Prime Minister.
That would mean. So if we can put our graphic up on the screen here, the poorest would stand to gain about £7 from that. At the top of the income bracket, the wealthiest people in the country would gain 900, maybe even nearly £2,000. Is that fair? Well, the people at the top of the income distribution pay more tax. So inevitably, when you cut taxes, you tend to benefit people who are more likely to pay tax. Of course, there are some people who don't pay tax at all. But to look at everything through the lens of redistribution, I believe is wrong. Because what I'm about is about growing the economy. And growing the economy benefits everyone.
Okay, that's what Prime Minister thinks. And so this is the map. This is the graph, the chart where we can see where the UK and UK in the future. It's a pre-epidemic prognosis, where they say how UK is placed uh, in comparison to different countries. We are much below G7, so the biggest economy. Uh, yeah, below the average of the biggest economies, the biggest seven economies on the world. And this is another chart which is much more clear. This is US, this is UK, this is OECD, so 20 most developed countries ish, 40, sorry, plus. And this is EU 14, so the first 14 biggest countries probably, and the Scandinavia. So from Scandinavia to UK is a very long way. So is from EU average, and so is from SCD average. So yeah, and recently because of this, regardless of these cuts, the economy in UK didn't get better. So yeah, and there is a way, there is a how you sense in this madness, I would say. So if you see low taxes in US, you can hear a lot in TV where they complain about US public debt. So if you have low taxes, if you want to support your public spending, social spending, the only way you can do it, you can take a debt. And Tories do not like that. So they will try to squeeze us on any income redistribution programs. So how are we going to do? So this is the idea of the productivity. That's what they talk about when they think about economic growing. So let's imagine everything was produced within the country, and that's what was needed to produce everything we have here. So if we have here materials and price of materials, if we have labor, if we have their taxes, everything bosses has to pay. although taxes are not clear because the role of the taxes is different within the economy. But in the most simple model, that will think that's the on the bottom below the line, that will be everything the bosses have to pay. If you want to increase output, you just simply cut everything to the bone. And you can cut on taxes. You can, according to this model, you can cut labor, where unfortunately you cannot cut material on materials because it wouldn't increase productivity. You will have some second range products. So because on the global markets the prices are which they are, and UK is very import dependent. So to give it into perspective, we produce our electricity from the gas. 50% of the gas is, well, 50% of the electricity is from the gas. We import 50% of our gas, so 25% of our electricity come from the gas, but our energy went through the roof. So anyway, doesn't make any sense. This is the research I have read recently from LSE, which is from December 2020, so quite fresh. Two authors, David Hope and Julian Lindberg, they did compare last 50 years on the major 18 economies of OECD to check what's going on. If you cut taxes, what you will get. And that's the result. So in this short paragraph, I won't bother you with the mathematics, how they get there, but in general, yeah, what I found. If you cut taxes, the richest will get additional, richest 1% will get 0.8 percentage of the national pre-tax income. So if you cut taxes again to the bone, that would be even more because it doesn't include taxes. And then in the long term and the medium, in the short term and the medium term, they didn't find anything which could show proof that the economic performance, so the productivity, increased. So complete. That's a full bag of rubbish, whatever she said. And as well, there is no major impact on GDP, so whatever is produced in the country, and as well unemployment rate, because that's sometimes treated as a dogma that if you cut taxes, bosses will be much more happy to invest and they will employ people. So those authors over the last 50 years said, doesn't work that way. That's actually a story I wanted to tell. When you actually cut on taxes, you will actually undermine yourself, because people who have companies, the employers, bosses, industry owners, will just simply run away from the country if you cut taxes, because you will not have a capacity to support them when they struggle. And most recently, we are being told, that's example about energy, for example, when apparently Netherlands were the one of the countries with most expensive electricity, which is 24p. Actually, from 1st of October in UK, the electricity in UK will be 52p. So we will go much up because this price is frozen. Currently, UK price per kilowatt is 28p. So what is the idea? If you have a very expensive energy and you consume a lot, that's the interview with the guy who own. Sorry, I'm just placing shamelessly one of the guy who made a clip before about that.
Lee in Watford. Hi, Lee. What do you do? Yeah, hi Eddie. Thanks for asking the sensible questions today, and we'll miss you, obviously. But good luck with the next steps. But yeah, we just gave up. Yeah, we just got we have 11 storage and distribution centres for fresh seafood in the UK. Yeah, kind of crab, langoustine, yeah, kind of all fairly high-end products for restaurants and also private delivery. Yeah, we just made the decision Friday. We're just closing our UK business.
Oh, no.
We're moving it to the Netherlands. Yeah. So yeah, the Rotterdam area.
Okay, so what he said here is that he is going to close business in UK because the government didn't help the business during raising costs. They are not protected as households are, although it's already hitting the households very much. And he goes to where? Netherlands. Apparently, one of the most country with most expensive electricity, which will be, yeah. And if we go to again our graph, when we say Netherlands are much above with taxes than UK, and even prognosis of the UK. So simply, Netherlands do have strength, financial strength. Dutch state has enough strength to support people and business during cost of living and raising prices of energy. Surprise, surprise. So yeah, and actually, researchers in other countries say that actually it's not the low taxes support productivity growth. It's a productivity growth which could in some circumstances have a good impact on tax policies and allow people to cut taxes. I'm a big fan of Mark Blythe, who who wrote a book on austerity, and when he said that if you want to implement austerity, that's during the times of good prosperity. Because then you can cut on social spendings, on redistribution programs. So, yeah. Anyway, so Liz didn't help business with the energy prices. So people go away, run away from UK to bloody European Union. So that's something they should be worried. And she promised investment, but a strange way of investment, which relies on places where the business pay low taxes, so special economic zone, free ports, no duties, and so on. And definitely would work, and I will actually be the way, as the researchers from LSE said, redistribute much more income to the top 1% of rich people in UK. Okie dokie, so there is actually the clip from last month when Pori Mordaunt, she was trying to actually be a leader of Tory party, and she said actually that it's not true that Liz Truss said she's not going to give benefits. She said she names it handouts.
Out all future help. In fact, part of the reason for her putting an emergency budget forward is to really address some of these issues. But what she has, I think, rightly challenged is the wisdom of taking large sums of money out of people's pockets in tax and then giving some of it back in ever more complicated ways. She's making a general point about the merits of enabling people to keep more of what they earn, and I think that is the right principle.
Yeah, so that was the idea. She said simply, yeah, actually, we need to reduce taxes. So because we already give too much, that's my understanding of it. So future-wise, we will expect much more cuts. So yeah, we know we can, going back to our graph of productivity and making country better. If you want to increase output, Liz Truss want to cut taxes. She wants to cut. Well, she cannot cut energy on materials as well and other resources, because for now she doesn't have any plan. She didn't present any plan during her campaign to be a leader. So yeah, that will leave us only with one solution: to cut on workers. And that's an example of that. Actually, that's a consultation bill related to, for example, childcare. Childcare cannot escape abroad. So that's one of the services you need to supply in the country. And her idea, well, that's department under Mr. Cleverly, who will be again apparently invited to Liz Truss government. So this is in consultation. What they try to do, they try to screw our teachers, our carers in nurseries, where currently one child, well, 4 children need to be taken care by one adult. They're trying to put it 5 kids and one adult. So this will allow charities who run care and as well public child care facilities, or as well private one, which we have a lot of them in the UK, to ask teachers to just simply be much more careful and work much more harder. That will potentially, this the regulation. So whenever you hear the regulation, it's actually related to lower the standards. This will put potentially children in threat, at risk, and they will as well have an impact on teachers' healthcare, because they will be much more stressed. So yeah, that's how they're going to screw it. And how I know it's a true and that will be the plan, because that's the leaked video when Liz Truss says that the workers in UK need more graft. So in this speech, she said, "Yeah, it's actually long trend in UK that British workers are more lazy than the European Union workers, or she used China as a standard." So I'm just wondering if she's going to place us in some kind of labor re-education camps. If the workers won't work hard enough, I have no idea. But yeah, that's what she has to say.
Basically, British workers. I watched a radio about this, which got mischaracterized. But British workers produce less per hour, and that's a combination of kind of skill and application. And there's and it's very, if you look at productivity, it's very, very different in London from the rest of the country. But basically, no, because this has been a historical fact for decades. Essentially, it's partly a sort of mindset and attitude thing. Yeah, it's working culture, basically. If you go to China, it's quite different. Sure. You know, there's a fundamental issue of British working culture. It's not, essentially, if we're going to be a richer country and a more prosperous country, that needs to change, but I don't think people are that keen to change that. So I think there's a slight thing in Britain about wanting the easy answers, and
So yeah, going back to our productivity chart. So that's her idea. She will try to make sure we get much less done we think so, and that will support her plans when she said she's going to go hard on militant trade unions. So that's our future for another weeks, months, years. We will see. We shall overcome, I suppose, at some point. But yeah, that's my interpretation of what we're going to struggle with. Let me know what you think. I used to talk myself through what I think about all these problems, what I see, what I read, what's going on around. But that's the problem. You can only challenge yourself to that some extent. So I'm happy to record this video and talk myself through and then share it with you and then let you know what you think about that. So let me know in comment section what you think about it. And yeah, thank you very much. Catch up soon.